welcome to another episode of the From the Jump podcast. You know, I'm your host, DJ, a few of my co-hosts and bro hosts, man. To the left, I got
Tony.
You already know what it is behind the camera. I got my boy Alex, and to the right,
you got Ayo.
Ayo, you know what's going on, man. We here, and first and foremost, man, I just want to give a big shout out to the young man, Terrence Clark, basketball player from the University of Kentucky. Passed away tragically in a car accident. Young man getting ready to go to the NBA draft and, you know, accomplish one of his dreams and, you know, I'm sure take care of himself and take care of his family. Very tragic, man. And I just want to put that first and foremost just because the loss of life, especially of a young man, like I said, getting so close to his dream and getting right there and, you know, tragically getting taken away from this earth. Just very disheartening at times. So I just want to put that out there. Hey, Tony, you got any comments on that, man?
Yeah, it's just tragic how things happen, you know what I mean? And obviously we never get the grand scheme of the story, but to watch the video and really make you sit back in perspective, like, you know, you never know what can happen. You see what I'm saying? He was going to change his family's life, you know, do his thing, do what he loves to do, and in a blink of an eye, it was gone. So, you know, my family pray for him for sure, but just basketball world, stick together, you know what I mean? Talk to each other. You never know what was going on. But we're going to try to move past it because he was definitely going to be one of them tough ones.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. Hey, yo.
And you already know, it's just tragic. I was just looking at his Instagram like a couple days ago, seeing he signed with Clutch like literally the day before that happened. And like, that's just crazy just to understand. Like you said, he was right there, everything right in front of him, like being able to take care of his family, like make all his dreams come true, and just gone in the blink of an eye. So you just got to take every day.
Absolutely, man. If there's anything that we could, you know, ask from y'all, it's just to tell your loved ones that you love them every day, or at least try to tell somebody, because, you know, same with this situation, you never know, you could be gone. But we're going to go to the other side, you know, hopefully we can cheer this shit up. And, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, Terrence Clark.
Knicks.
9-game win streak. See, I brought this one up because, you know, I know I was on Julius Randle's head, and I know Tony, you know, he was right. He was right a little bit, but I'm gonna let you go with this one first.
A little bit. I told you, bro. They're like, if you look at the roster and you really look at it, and I think they should dominate because the players individually aren't like the Nets or the Lakers or the Clippers. Like, that's, you know, you got old heads, Derrick Rose, you know what I'm saying, Julius Randle, young superstar, stuff like that. So you really got to take in perspective that they're working as a team. And my opinion is Thibodeau would be the reason why they have collectively learned how to win. Because when he was in Chicago with Derrick Rose at that time, you think about how successful they were with D Rose as the leader. Now, he was incredible, don't get me wrong, but now he has some pieces that he's like, okay, we can work with this. And the Knicks have a true possibility for the future. I can't say right now they're going to be some killer in the playoffs, but for the regular season, now they might finish out with like I would say the next, how many games left? 10?
About 13.
So I'd probably say they could finish out legitimately like 9-4 on the season, and they'll be in a great spot for the playoffs. But they have a great chemistry as a team right now to where it's like not many people are walking in that building beating them.
Right.
They legitimately look like a Knicks team that battles and fights like they used to, instead of just these washed up bums that they've been for the last God knows how long.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm really a big fan of the Knicks and the way they changed.
Absolutely, man. And right now they're currently sitting at the 4th seed, I believe, in the East. So, hey, yo, what you think, bro?
Man, I like it. It's good for basketball, seeing the Knicks being good again. You know,
Absolutely.
just getting back to it. Right now, it's not looking pretty. I think they're about to lose to Phoenix, but
Might get that snap. Might get that little 9-game win streak snap.
Cash App's open or what? Cash App's open? I'm just asking.
I mean, I was going to say.
We can throw 5.
I'm down,
close.
man.
But I like what I see. I like what I'm seeing. I mean, I like the toughness, how they're playing together, the chemistry, and just what they're bringing to the table each and every night, and just playing hard. Like, you love to see that as a basketball player, as a competitor, seeing the team just give it their all each and every night and just play like that. So I love to see it.
Hell yeah. I'm gotta say I'm thoroughly pleased with how they're doing. My question was kind of, is it a Tom Thibodeau? Is it because it's a light East? Because I believe when Tom Thibodeau was the coach of the Timberwolves, they had Derrick Rose and they had Taj Gibson, but they had Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins and all that over there. And now he goes over there and still takes Derrick Rose and takes Taj Gibson and all them. So I guess what would be is it the I don't want to say the weakness, but the lighter East that they benefit from and have, I guess, more room to work instead of being in the West with the Timberwolves and doing all that?
I would say the strength of schedule obviously is going to have a little play in it, but not as big as you would seem, mainly because if you watch that Timberwolves team play back then, they wasn't really a team. Like Cat and Andrew was kind of young cats doing them. They wanted to be them. They didn't want to embrace the whole culture.
Right.
This Knicks team, everybody's just taking everything about it and rocking the culture, and because of that, they're winning games. You know, Cat and them was just trying to be pretty boys, establish themselves, all that type of stuff, from my opinion. Then you go Derrick Rose, like, bro, I'm kind of in and out of injury. You know what I'm saying? And y'all need to, I'm trying to lead y'all. Y'all don't want to listen. I'm getting some pushback. Taj Gibson obviously could have taught Cat a lot, but Cat obviously was kind of cocky. So then you get him to go over to the Knicks, and Julius Randle's like, what you want to teach me? Let's do it. He get to it. Derrick Rose get to it. Now you're like, okay, this team has figured it out. But the strength of the schedule obviously going to make their wins better. Now, the West back then obviously was legit. So that's probably why they was getting killed. But when you don't have a good team chemistry, your success isn't going to be what it should like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just like I said a couple episodes ago, like Cat and just Andrew Wiggins, the culture that they had back then, you can't win with it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it proved right there, like Tom Thibodeau and D Rose going over to New York Knicks. Like Jimmy wasn't playing around and he wasn't lying.
He's not lying, you know what I mean? Yeah, Jimmy took the heat. You know what I'm saying? Just that culture. A guy can lead the culture. If everybody wants to buy in, you can take a run. So they made it to the finals. You see what I'm saying? And they roster is not made realistically to be in the finals at that time. Bam was good, yes, but you had Dragic, you had Duncan Robinson, and what was old boy's name? The shooter,
Hero.
Yeah. So you had those cats new to the scene, and they make it to the finals. You know what I mean? They wasn't on Andrew Wiggins and Cat status back then. Them two was one of the best in they respective spots. But now you see Jimmy's like, look, they was tripping back then. I'm serious, and they like, no, he's a cancer. And he goes over here and does that. The truth comes out.
Yeah. So I got to give, I just definitely want to give the New York Knicks their credit, and Tom Thibodeau and all those guys, the veterans. Also, shout out to Julius Randle playing a hell of a lot of good basketball lately.
He's like that. I've been telling you this. They've been holding him back. They was holding him back. Cuz gets to it. Watch his highlights in high school. You'd be like, yeah, it was potential there.
You're right. And it's I was going to say something else, but.
What was you going to say?
Oh, don't worry about it.
What was
Alex,
you gonna say?
if you could so gently pan that camera over to Tony real quick.
What was you going to say?
Tony, a few episodes back, made a comment about Boogie Cousins. Said, signed a 10-day contract, signed another 10-day contract, and then as of today, DeMarcus Cousins has signed for the rest of the season with the Clippers.
Yeah.
So,
I was wrong.
What are your thoughts?
I was legitimately wrong. I feel like he deserves it. Thankfully, somebody finally gave him a contract. Hopefully, he makes it out. But I was completely wrong.
Okay.
Just Boogie's been who he is the last couple of years, so I was just riding that tail thinking he was just going to be that. But if he turned the corner, then, hey, get back to it, homie. We miss it, honestly, truly and sincerely.
True. For sure. Hey, yo, what you thinking?
I love to see it. I just need him to stay healthy longer than 10 games, because that's pretty much what they were holding out for.
Yeah.
Giving him that 10-day contract just to even see it feel like his body will stay healthy. So hopefully he can stay healthy through the playoffs.
I can't believe you threw me under the bus like that, man. That's messed up.
Well, I honestly brought up the Knicks only to give you your credit. So you was trying to get on my bumper, so I had to go ahead and do what I had to do.
Quit sending me that stuff.
Man, don't be mad. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And a sleeper, man, because my guy, Russ, man, and the Wizards, no one's really talking about. How many people was talking about Washington?
None. They still shouldn't.
They shouldn't, but they're on the second highest win streak with, I believe, 8 games right now. And they're playing the Spurs right now. Bradley Beal has 45, and they're in overtime. The score is 144 to 143. I believe Spurs are up.
15 seconds left.
Yeah.
And Russ been playing incredible. Like, I've seen some of his numbers, and obviously you're a big Russ fan, but I'm just like, I don't know. I ain't never really called him a stat stuffer. It seems like that.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. But either way, The man is getting 35. That you can't stuff a 35 or 40 and then 11 and 11. You can, I mean, but that dude's just all doing what he always done with the roster that he can't really win with. He just don't do his best. Give all he got. Win, lose, or draw, and that's just how it is. And luckily now they're starting to win because they was bad for a minute. Like really bad. But I think it took some time for him and Bradley to learn how to mix.
Right.
And then now they can know how to mix, and it's like Russ and KD back then. And once they figured it out, it couldn't really be messed with.
Right. Hey, yo, anything on that?
I love to see it because I love Russ. Like, even after like everything that like we went through in OKC with him, like I'm always gonna love Russ, and just like how he stuck here and gave everything, and then seeing him go to Washington just doing the same, like, and then Bradley Beal playing off of him and how like his greatest like season. I love to see it because it like puts into what he called how Russ was saying, like he's a great teammate and like everybody else that's played with him has said the same thing.
Yeah.
Right, except for Kevin Durant, bitch.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean? Kevin Durant took him to a championship. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm kidding.
To a championship? Okay, man. See my friends.
Wow.
No, I'm playing. I'm always gonna have love for us, man. I mean, he was one of those guys that was never the greatest shooter, but he did everything else that he could. You know, getting to the rim, rebounding for his team, getting guys the ball, even whenever he had damn Daquan Cook and all these randoms on the bench, Thabo Cephalosha, Andre Roberson.
What was the shooter that came from in a light skinned cat with the funky jumper? Can't think of his name.
Kevin Martin.
Kevin Martin.
Kevin Martin.
Anthony Morrow.
Mm-hmm.
They had some bums. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Legitimate bums.
Put him somewhere he can have some shooters and he can run the floor.
Like this, how trash. They thought Nerlens Noel was it for a time.
They gave him that money.
Right, and now is he playing anymore?
For the Knicks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now,
man.
Yeah, I believed in him when he first came out, but I was wrong.
you got to think he was in the league how many years before he got traded? Never. I don't remember seeing him play ever.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Then he comes to Thunder, and realistically, it was like he could defend. Steven Adams could score, so they would just be like, "Oh, Adams, you can't guard Jokic. Okay, here, no, do your thing."
Mm-hmm.
But then you throw it to him. It's like, what's he supposed to do with it?
Unless it's wide open.
Unless it's wide open dunk, DeAndre Jordan style.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. Russ has done a good job with some trash rosters.
Absolutely, definitely. Like I said, appreciate Russ for all he's done for the city, man, for sure.
Katie, stand up.
Sit down.
Yeah.
Man, all right. Next I want to go, luckily Bradley Beal's playing today, but he had a minor little leg injury. I believe it was yesterday or something. It just went down for a little bit. I wasn't sure how serious it was. I was going to add him to the injury report, but definitely good to see him back. And because they're pushing for that 10th spot to play in that playoff.
Yeah. He's dynamic, man. He got to be on the floor for his team to win. I mean, he arguably was the leading scorer in the NBA for a lot of weeks, and rightly so. A lot of people sleep on him, and how do you when a man's scoring 40 or 38 a game? You see what I'm saying? And his team ain't winning, but there's only so much you can do a lot of times when your team's not very good. So when he got Russ, it was like, okay, here we go, and we go from there. But that's good he's healthy because you don't. I hate to see the greats out like Trae Young out. You know what I'm saying? Like you hate to see the better players out because our league isn't as fun without him. But thank goodness he's back healthy and ready to roll.
Right. Yeah.
I think just there's going to be injuries this year, especially like watching the NFL and seeing everybody get hurt. And you already know having a condensed year this year. Yeah, like there was going to be injuries, so like to expect it. But at the same time, like Tony said, I'm just glad to see him out there. Yeah. Glad to just be able to enjoy like players play.
Absolutely, man. Definitely gotta enjoy the greats while we got them. Bradley Beal's one of them. Never really got his shine, like that. Or never, I would say, never has got as much appreciation as he probably deserves. Yeah, he does a lot. Plays really good defense. Because obviously scored a ball on all three levels, in my opinion. So yeah, glad to have Brad still. But also on the injury report, we were talking about Denver. Last week, I was watching the game. I believe they were playing Golden State. Like the first 2 minutes, Will Barton goes down with a leg injury. Yeah. And I believe they said Monte Morris is also out. So they're,
Then.
Yeah.
Then.
Thinner in my hairline, boy.
Or nothing.
They got Austin Rivers and Jokic.
Oh, they signed him? I didn't realize they signed him.
He played. He's been playing the last 2 games, I believe. So Austin Rivers, Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. just had 39 on the Rockets, but it's the Rockets. So
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon. So how you feeling? It's getting thinner.
I mean, if they keep losing guys because their roster's already kind of thin at the end,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be good beneficial for them for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because Barton's a great all-around guy. Monte Morris is a great energy guy. So you lose those things for maybe some G League guys, rookie guys, old veteran guys that's just not accustomed to how they play. They already made an adjustment being out without Jamal. So it's like, what do you do? You know, and Jokic is like, dude, I'm just trying my hardest. You see what I'm saying? But I don't know. I can't say that their playoff run looks as promising as it once did, especially when you lose those two and you get Austin Rivers. So it's like you got a new guy, you lose your two guys that's been there. So it's like coach got to figure it out in a hurry. And they got to become accustomed playing with Jokic and Aaron Gordon, all that type. It's just a lot of mixing right now. But they got like 13 games, obviously, so they got some time to figure it out. But how long are those two guys out?
I wasn't exactly sure. Some of them said day to day.
Yeah.
You know, so it's mainly I think they're just trying not to push it, see how far they can get without dropping. Because I think right now if the playoffs stopped, they play the Lakers first round.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, that's a loss.
yeah, for sure. Yo,
Man, like you said, they just can hopefully get them back before the playoff starts and win a couple games and get lucky and not play the Lakers the first round. Because right now, with all their injuries and like everything that they're going through, they're already thin. So they're just gonna have to hope their stars become like true stars.
Yeah.
And actually shine. And all the younger players that are actually put in the position this year, like I said, Michael Porter, he's really gonna have to shine now.
39 got to be more common.
yeah, for
The
sure.
reality of it, you know what I'm saying?
Especially shooting 12 threes a game.
Man, and hey, who else gonna shoot him? You see what I'm saying? Realistically, who else gonna shoot him? Austin Rivers, that boy better get his jumper off halftime. That stuff's nasty.
He ain't played all season.
At the house chilling. But hey, we'll see what goes.
For sure, man. So if we look at the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, I'm not conference finals, but the conferences. In the Western Conference, 5th place through 10th place, the game differential is 4.5 games. So that's going to be real tight. And in the Eastern Conference, 4th through 9th is also 4.5 games. Like I said, with 13 games left to be played, I believe, for all teams or less. I mean, it's going to be real tough because I believe, Dallas and Portland right now, they're flip-flopping every win, every loss right there because right there is tight. And I'm not exactly sure who it was in the East, but it's just, like I said, with these last 13 games, everybody trying to secure that 6th spot or trying to make sure they don't play who and who, you know what I'm saying? How important is it with these last 13 games to secure that spot, especially with the playing playoff games going on?
I feel like if you're the higher seed, you need to definitely, make sure you get the games to solidify your spot. But the playing games, to me, when you have a spread that big where it's very close for someone to just fumble 2 games or whatever situation may be, it's like a legitimate dogfight for every single game until the season's over.
Right.
But it's not as big because of the play-ins. But for that 4, 5, and 6, it's like you realistically, in all your might, you're trying to go like 10-3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or 9-4 at the most, because you just don't want to slip up and lose no games. And definitely don't lose games that you don't need to lose. So if you're playing somebody that's buns and you just lose that game, it's not worth the risk right now. You see what I'm saying? You want to make sure you go out with all you got and play whoever you have that's presented in front of you and beat them. But it's weird, like in our NBA now, a lot of guys are rest for the playoffs and just take whatever seed they're going to get.
Right.
I'm like, nah, especially in a COVID year, you don't know what could happen. You might as well just play them out and do your thing. But from a Western Conference standpoint, it's like, I don't know anybody that's just a front-running top dog. Like, you just the best. You see what I'm saying? The Denver getting hurt, and then you got the Suns is new. You got the Lakers up and down, the Clippers up and down. You see what I'm saying? It's like it gives you an open, wide fight to do your thing. So who do you want to face when that time comes? So I feel like that plays a big part in the 4, 5, and 6 spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot right now.
Yeah. I will say just with the, I think it's Charlotte. I watched Charlotte versus Celtics, and them not having like a lot of those big name players, especially like Gordon Hayward, LaMelo Ball's out. They were up damn near 20 at 3 different points in the game. They'd get chopped down to about 7, 8, and then get right back up there. And I think that's going to be a big part of it because, like Aaron was saying at one point, they don't have that center in there. I think that Robert Williams, the third kid that they had, got hurt, so Tristan Thompson starting that center. their backup guards. When they did the full swap and pulled those 5 out, like they were so little. They had Carson Edwards, they had Trey Waters, they had like all the damn near 5'10", 5'11" guys checking in there. So it gets real little after, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which I mean, I guess you got Kimba, but you got 4-5 dudes under 6 foot.
In this game, sometimes scoring is everything. So you can just risk it right there. You be like, I'm gonna just outscore them more than with the stops we can get. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, cool. If you're gonna do it that way, then do it that way. But you talking about tiny, you know what I'm saying? Like this, you can't guard y'all can't guard nobody. It's your name, NBA. You might have to go zone, which I seen that the other day. I think it was the Knicks. They're running zone. I'm like, in the NBA, what is going on? You see what I'm saying? But if you have a small roster, obviously you're going for I'm scoring immediate points,
right?
And hopefully I can score more than how many stops we get, you know, so on and so forth. But that's how I feel about the small, a small roster.
For sure.
I mean, that's all I was looking at it. Depending on like your team, like especially like the Lakers, I think like with LeBron's age and then AD being like hurt all the time, I feel like their team like they can drop and go ahead and set a couple games and go ahead and play in the play-in seed. Compared to like looking at it, I don't know if Miami wants to be down there in that play-in game because they've been playing like a up and down all year. So like. You never know what you're going to get with them in the playoffs right now. So I think depending on the team and where they're at, it's going to be real.
Absolutely, man.
Dog fight right there.
So, I guess, where we at, Alex? What time we at, Famo? 20? Damn, we're running through these mugs. I'm trying to get through this, man. We can call it a little halftime, man, because I think this one's going to be real deep. It's basically just going into our futures, man. I mean, as we get older, we've talked about, kind of growing. We've talked about being the big brothers, taking advice, and then, we're starting to slowly into this chapter where we're going to be raising our own kids and, doing all this whole dad thing coming up soon, man. And I guess I just want to know, like, y'all's thoughts. You can give a shout out to whoever you want to, or a story about, like, just some of the men growing up in your life that were, male figures, father figures, and, just kind of how, like, your appreciation for those people. You got one, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very blessed. I take my father did, and from my opinion, an amazing job raising me, especially as a man, because he was hard on me, but he was very supportive in a lot of things that I wanted to do in my life. And I think, and now day and age is a very fine line, but I would like to be on that line because I want my future children to know that I have standards for you, but I support you in your things as well, and I think I take the good and the bad from my parents. So for my future being a parent, I'm like, my mom, she was pretty chilled out with us because she trusted how she raised her children. So she gave us the freedom to kind of make our own mistakes, do our own things, be who we are with not too many repercussions. Now, my dad was more of like the strict guy, do it this way, good grade, all that type of stuff. But he was also like, look, I don't really care about none of the sports. I care about what type of man you are, how you treat your grandmas, your mamas, your girls, all that type of stuff. So I feel like I'm trying to take a fold out of both their books and make it my own, Okay. But I really give praise to my father because he arguably my best friend and my dad at the same time because no matter what, I have never been afraid to walk to that man and tell him how I'm feeling about whatever the situation may be. And I hope one day when I have children, they can do me the same way. No matter if it's a boy, daughter, son, they come to me like, Dad, this is what's up. How you feel about it? And then we talk game. You see what I'm saying? I have a lot of friends that's older and dads, all that type of stuff, but they haven't raised teenagers yet. You see what I'm saying? So they haven't been there. But I'm like, my mom raised me and Alex a lot when we was little. My dad was there too, but we lived with her. So she kind of let us be who we are. But you go over to my dad's, and Alex can even vouch, like, we get over there, we become like low key kind of like military kids compared to what we were.
Right.
And there was a time in the life where it was like I was getting a slang to me where I had a stepbrother and I would use a certain phrase and I go over to my dad's and it would just linger with me. He'd be like, look, don't say that in this house. And so I look back at it now as an adult and I'm like, he was correct. You see what I'm saying? Back then I'm like, you're tripping.
Right.
But in all reality, I'm like, yeah, you was right. You see? And I just hope that my children have the same respect for me that I have for him.
Gotcha.
And I think that's what's going to that's how I look at fatherhood for me. Is I know as a basketball coach as well, a lot of these kids sometimes don't have that person to go to for just simple information, simple conversation, and I hope my kids have friends that can find me like that. So I really hope that for me, for the future of fatherhood.
Okay. Hell yeah. I like to hear that, man. Ayo?
I guess I'll go with my dad, definitely too. Like, even though we didn't have like the greatest relationship growing up, but like as I was getting older and finally understanding my dad, like even though he wasn't there all the time, he was mostly out working, like putting in hours, being on the oil field. So like being around him and like not being able to like truly like what do you call it? Create a bond from a young age, I think like really like hurt us. But like being able to like be around him now when he's home, like at an older age, I think really was like helping us. And then seeing how like he interacted with everybody, especially growing up, and definitely understanding how to like be around people is one thing. Like I really caught on to him because like my dad's more like a Tony. Like once you get around him, he's just that like light in a like dark room, like shines everything up. So like definitely being around him, seeing how to like interact with people, and just be that person like in their life. I think I really like took that a lot from him.
Okay. Oh shit! I'm gonna just keep it a buck, man.
Who is it?
Like I told you, like who your daddy? Nah, no. But like I've said before, my biological dad when I was gone when I was 2. Me and my stepdad, that's my daddy. But just to put it into perspective, we didn't really get along for a long time. It wasn't. It was more of a. He was more of a do as I say, not as I do type of guy. So it was real hard for me to see you do something, but for you to be on my ass about.
Yeah.
Like
I can only imagine, bro.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you can do whatever the fuck you want to. I love you, Dad. But it's like, but you have such high expectations for me, but then, you doing different. So we feuded a lot. And I think because as a kid, people think that you dumb. People think that you can't really articulate things or comprehend things because you can't word it a certain way that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But seeing it, we bumped heads constantly until probably I was 18, But I will say I learned from him some things to do, but also definitely what not to do, growing up and, just handling certain things. Because, if you know my family, we have definitely got tempers, and I'll just put it like that. Like,
yes.
We don't play. Mom don't play. Dad don't play.
Irma started it.
Yeah. Mama's a G. Dante don't play. Jabari, when he plays, turns into mentally like he's 6'8", 240. It's just ridiculous.
Like he top dog. You know what I mean? And I've seen you get mad, bro.
And the thing is, I'm probably the sensitive one out the bunch. Like I really didn't get my balls until I met Tony. Like I really didn't fight back. I was more so like I'll hide in the corner type. But if I had to give a credit, a lot of different credit to a lot of different men that I seen, I give one to my Uncle Bari, who my mom named my baby brother Jabari after. And he was basically like her best friend. Grew up in the same hometown. Would always take us to go eat, buy us clothes, all that stuff whenever we was, back there at home in the LIB. And my Uncle Marshall, who's my stepdad Toby's brother, he was just a man that, just the encouraging words, the don't give it up on yourself. And it was different because my dad was more the tough love type. Like, but he was that other side, like, hey, if you need something, call me, he don't cry with me on the phone type stuff. And it was just real weird because I wasn't real used to that. But as I grew up and, just having that person before, I really met Tony before I met Ayo. And it was tough for me to understand that dudes were like that because my dad, he don't show emotion that often, so it was just weird for me, and then ended up getting to meet you guys and how like you can just be yourselves around. So that he definitely helped transition me into the man I am today, where I'm able to talk about things more so and just interact with my friends on a different level instead of trying to be hard all the time, or you gotta fight, or if this person do this, can't let woo. So shout out to my Uncle Marshall, man. Love you and appreciate you, man, for sure. Uncle Barry, thank you for everything you've done. Obviously, family loves you because baby brother's named after you, man. But I thank y'all, man. I really, really do. I guess you kind of talked about this. This is what I wanted to do. As you know, we're 20. I'm 25. Going to be 26 next month. You're how old?
I'll be 28 this year.
28 this year. Ayo.
Pretty much the same as you.
Yeah, we're just about the same age. Growing up, obviously, we've had people younger than us. We had people our age have kids already. So why at this point do you not have any
Kids?
Yeah.
I know me and my wife. She grew up very conservative, Christian-like. So she wanted to wait till marriage to have children, and I was always supportive of that. That's cool. You understand what I'm saying? So another reason, though, realistically, is like I would say I was scared to be a father, just because I know when I was, y'all's age or Alex's age, I was a little selfish when it came to money. Like I would just always want it for me, and I didn't have the thought to just give it to someone else. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mind helping out here and there, but it was like I had this money, I'm going to spend it on me. I work hard for it. I wasn't mature enough to be selfless to know that if I have a human that's my DNA, I have to take care of them for the rest of their lives, 18 years, whatever the situation may be. And I don't know if I was prepared for that. So to be able to meet someone who had standards on birth helped me also give me time to grow, to understand what type of father and what I wanted my children to be raised in when it comes to their life. Like what type of house, what type of, surroundings, where they want to be, type of friends, all that type of stuff. So I was scared for a majority of my 20s, I could say. And then we got married, and it's almost like when you get married, if y'all have an understanding that when you get married, you're going to have children, it's a little more comfortable. The conversation is not very hard.
Right.
It's really weird how, like, before that, y'all, it's like a legit conversation nobody wants to have. But the second you get married, all of a sudden people's mama want to talk about it, grandparents, you see what I'm saying?
When
mama
are you
like,
gonna
hurry
have
up,
it?
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so 3 months ago, you didn't want to hear about none of that. All of a sudden, it's have kids, right? So now that I'm 27, 28 years old, I'm like, I'm ready to have children just because I want to be a father. I've been doing coaching long enough to where it's like I could be their mentor, low-key kind of father, big brother type of thing. But I would like to bring an individual in the world that has our DNA and then hopefully raise them to be a great person that I will feel prideful of raising. You see, so that's why I really feared it. You see what I'm saying? I can't deny that at all. And it's almost to the point where I was like, Mariah would get frustrated with me because she's like, is it something with me? I'm like, nah, it's not nothing with you. It's just I don't feel like I'm ready to be someone's dad. And I know nobody's ever realistically ready,
Right.
but I know mentally I'm more prepared than I would have been 4 years ago.
Right.
You see, and so that's why I haven't had children yet.
Okay, man. I like that. Definitely in depth, yo.
I'm gonna just say luck. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yo, what's going on, yo?
Just leave it at that.
Look, yo, nothing else. Yo, come on.
My boy said, I've been ready.
No fear. That's
Not at all,
crazy.
man.
Just luck, nothing else.
I mean, I haven't been trying.
Yeah, I ain't been trying. But if it happens, it happens, huh?
Not really.
Okay.
Like, nah, just like you already know. It's just not like forcing a situation, especially like just trying to be smart about the situation and not put myself in a position to where I bring that like life in and I'm not ready.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely say luck.
Yeah. I would also say a part in mine would be finding someone that I felt comfortable with having children with.
Yes.
You see, and so since I've been with my wife for 7 years, going on 7 years, it was like, why, I've learned enough about this person that I'm okay with my child having that person's DNA and having that person's type of personality and characteristics and so on and so forth. So that was a big play because my dad used to say, don't have no kids with nobody that you can't be friends with. So, you have a child with someone that he's like, you don't want that for your kids. You see, you don't want that turmoil for your kids to see you and his mama get into it.
Preach.
Right. And so luckily my parents had feud, but it was like it was real funny how it was like love and hate.
Mm-hmm.
So they could do it, but we knew it's like they love to mess at each other. They just both kind of wild.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better they're apart, but they work well together for
Right.
us. You see, and so that was my big thing too. Was I never realistically, and God willing, if I'm able to have children with just my wife forever, but I never wanted my son to be like stepbrother, half brother, all that type of stuff. You know, me and Alex, and I never knew what half brother siblings was till I got older.
Mm-hmm.
I just called everybody, you know, we have the same mama, daddy, whatever. We're just family type thing. And so I never wanted that situation to happen. You see, because I'm like, I feel like sometimes it kind of causes a bridge between me and my sister, right? Me and my baby brother, not too much, but even then he's a little different than me. So we have sometimes a harder time conversating. You know, me and Alex come from the same world where we may argue, bicker, talk noise to each other, but also have great conversations. So we have a balance just because we're both from the same cloth, parents and mom, you see? So that's why I really would like it that way, to where I found someone I could just have multiple kids with, and then we just raise them from then on.
Absolutely, man. Again, growing up the way I did, man, it's tough, bro, because obviously my dad, like I said, all that, dad was gone, and, you know, stepdad, and that was a little tough. Not necessarily because he wasn't my biological dad, but it was just growing up, and I would say just knowing that we different. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you never having that mental security of this. He might say "fuck you" one day,
Right.
and it just be what it is.
That is true.
You know, like again, if you're with someone, you know, or you get in a relationship with someone that has a kid, it's like, oh, I love them like they mine, but you really just not at the end of the day, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Right.
And also just being financially ready before, you know. It's tough. We've grown up, and I'm sure all of us have. We've been in them situations where money was low, when money was tight, and you know, my mom had me when she was 20, 21, and you basically still fresh out of high school, trying to figure this whole life thing out.
Right.
And so it's tough because I never want to put my kids in a situation where I can't even give them what I would consider the basics.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, that's right.
And so it's just always tough because when I do it, I want to make sure I can provide for them whatever. Like you said, I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with the person that I'm doing this with, because a lot of times, man, and this is no disrespect to the young couples out there, but people be falling in love in 2 months, getting married by 6 months, and popping babies out, and then they have a divorce by next year. You know, and just forcing that because you want to love someone so much, or you want this, or you want that so bad, and you see all your friends have babies and they're married. It's like, I feel like a lot of times this generation just forces things upon themselves, and then you can't say you regret it because you got a kid out of it and you did all this, but it's like, damn, I probably shouldn't have forced this situation, because now me and this person have to communicate for 18 years. Me and this person have to deal, and that's a long 18 years. You know, I'm only 25.
Right.
That's more than half of my life. Shit, I'd be 7 years old.
Yeah.
You know, and to add that on to a whole nother, like, bruh, I'll be damn 45.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's definitely a big part of it, because, like I said, we've grown up. Shit, I'm talking water and cereal type at one point. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy, you know
So,
what I mean?
and not that there's nothing wrong with that. We understand people go through hard times, but I would personally like to be able to just make sure that I can financially secure everything I need to for my kids.
Yeah. And, you know, when you say about, you know, couples nowadays kind of rush stuff, and me and Alex be having this conversation sometimes where it's like, you know, patience is starting to become less and less in the community, mainly because everything is such quick access.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all information, you know, food, all that type of stuff is such quick access. The younger generation never really had to learn patience. And so you got these people having these babies real fast where they trying to, you know, social media is a positive and negative. So they trying to look at it like, oh, this person has kids, I want to have kids. And I'm like, I've never been that way. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mainly because in what I do in my life, I'm very patient because I got to learn things about kids and do so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're patient, you can really have a plan for what's going on. So you can save money. You can, have conversations like what type of parent you want to be. Bam, and then you'll have that. Okay, who you gonna be, a sports mom? You gonna be this? How great? Like, this is easy conversations you can have before you have children, because I feel like people don't have those conversations. Me and Mariah had a conversation the other day about a situation like, if my child was out past curfew, how would I handle it? How would she handle it? Mm-hmm. And it's totally polar opposites, right? But it's a conversation we had. So later down the road, it ain't like it's random. It's
what
like,
the fuck?
We've talked about this before.
Right.
How are we going to handle it? Let's find a happy medium type thing.
Yeah.
And that's my advice to the young couples or the young people having children. If you're going to pick a partner, have children with them, have those conversations. Even when she's pregnant, have that conversation like, what's going to happen if this happens, if that happens, if this happens. Don't take it as negative. Just take it as, okay, he really wants to know how we want to handle these situations for the future. Mm-hmm. And that's why I really waited, because I'm like, my dad had me at 17. My mom had my sister, who's older than me, at 17. So it was like, they didn't have time to learn what they wanted to do. So my dad only raised me what he knew. So he would whoop us because that's how he was raised. Mm-hmm. So as he got older, he learned that's not the way. So he didn't whoop my little brother. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm like, if he would have just waited a couple years, which I'm thankful to be here, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But he could have learned something different and then raised us differently.
Right.
Or able to save up his money, have a child, a little more stability, not jumping from house to house, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And like you said, cereal, you don't want your kids to go through some of the troubles you went through growing up. Mm-hmm. Really, it's just like, we come from, my grandma's house is in the hood. You see what I'm saying? And we used to be over there deep, eating tortillas and cheese. You see what I'm saying?
Bruh.
And that's what it was. And you don't necessarily don't want that for your child, but I don't want you to have to experience that all the time like we did.
Right.
And Mariah comes from one home, family, all that type of stuff. So she don't even know what that's like. And I'm like, that's real. But that's a conversation I had with her that a lot of my friends won't have with their significant other. They just have kids and just ride it the way it is, instead of figuring out, okay, let's write this book and go page by page and handle the situation.
Hell yeah, man. I think it's definitely tough with the, like you said, the communication part has to be there, because, for the young couples, I'll just say, like, whenever you have your idea of how you're going to have something go, and then your partner has a different idea about how something is going to go, it doesn't have to be a fight. It's more of a negotiation, conversation, just because you can have two totally different ideas. People are different. Like Tony said, his wife comes from a different area. He comes from this area. But to Tony, probably where he grew up, that's probably the norm. Him and someone else's situations are the norm. You know what I'm saying? So, like me and my girlfriend, she grew up a little different. She was poor at one point, but now her parents got, a nice house, you know what I'm saying, 4-bedroom on the acre type shit. And it's like, yeah, we ain't like rocking like that over here. Right. But that's why, I definitely want to approach it differently, because, my mom's told me, like, she's apologized. She was like, you're the first one. Like we talk about we being the oldest, like, shit, I had you when I was 20, and I think we can all attest to, shit, me at 25, I'm still not ready, in my opinion, like, to just go out here and like, yep, let's go have a kid, let's just do this shit, right. Learn it on the fly. Like, I would want to be as prepared as possible because of the things that we've been through.
Yeah, exactly. Just being the oldest and then seeing, like, what your parents had to go through, and then understanding later on, like, it's hard. Like, just trying to do that, like, especially at a young age, because my mom had me, when she was 19, and just, like, she graduated with me, like, in her stomach. So,
it's crazy, man. They was having them quick back in the day.
Man.
And learning on the fly, you know what I mean? And they taught us, rightly so, like, be patient, rush. You see what I'm saying? Live your life a little bit. Mm-hmm. And me, I've definitely done that. I'm one of the only ones and friends around my age that don't have children yet. You know what I mean? And that's fine. We cool with that. But it's just like, we did have to do a lot of cool things in our 20s. Right. Not saying that kids hold that back, but it kind of slow it up a little bit.
Absolutely.
And that's just rightly so, right? But you got to think about, when you were 17, could you imagine being a parent? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. Like, 17 years old, bro. I was in high school kicking it. Like, no worries, no bills, you know what I'm saying? None of that. You just having a good
job
time.
for me.
I was working, but you know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy that our parents sacrifice so much, and then try to teach us how to sacrifice, but in a better way.
Right.
Right. And I think all of our parents obviously have done a great job with us. You know, if you really hear the story from how we grew up, it's really strange. And I tell them all the time, my friends and stuff, like, we really shouldn't be here like this. Right? My dad wasn't going to let us be bad. Like, it wasn't going to be, but it could have been real easy the whole other way because it's just a different world. You see, my mom sacrificed a lot. I mean, when I'm talking about a lot, like blood, sweat, and tears, my mom sacrificed a bunch. She's a grinder just for us to have the minimum of good. See, we come out here and it was like totally different world. She did what she could, worked all the time, whatever. And that's just how it happened to be.
Right. I know we touched on fatherhood, but I want to, you know, since we're already here, I'm not sure how much time we got, but just to give the moms a shout out and not make that a separate episode, just because, you know, it's like I said, my mom's definitely been my best friend, and like you said, she sacrificed, man. I'm talking 2-3 jobs, coming home, taking a nap for 2 hours, hitting because she was working. I don't even know. I think a graphics company. Then she go work at the casino at night and different things like that, man. And moms, women, yeah, I just want to let y'all know we definitely appreciate y'all, because I've had the blessing and, you know, of meeting everybody's mom here, and, you know, just great women that, like they said, your mom had you at 19, was it? Or
no, she had my sister at 17, I think me at 23.
She had, okay.
And then Alex at 28.
Okay, so 23. Your dad had you at 17.
17, yeah.
Right. And Ayo, you said your mom had you at 19.
Yeah, she had me at 19 and then had Kaylee at 21.
Yeah, see.
Oh, wait, my dad was 19. I'm bugging you.
Okay, so your dad was 19 and mom was 20. And my mom was 20. And 20, we feel like, because we're not teenagers, a lot of times we grown, but that takes a lot of courage and strength, because it's not easy. You know, at 20, I was still figuring it out, and I'm still kind of figuring it out now. And, you know, for my mom to just work so many jobs, sacrifice, you know, we was in a women's shelter, you know, at one point, just because, you know, it's life ain't easy, and we think we know things all the time. But I'm grateful for all the sacrifices she's made, and, you know, for her to be in the position she's in now, making money. Like, you know, there's nothing I want more than for her to finally get, you know, her just due, because she deserves it, you know, for sure.
Yeah, my mom, this is just to single moms in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mom was a single lady, but she had my father, so it wasn't that bad. But she grinded like a single mom.
Mm-hmm.
And for you single moms out there that may feel like you struggling, you're not doing enough, you are. Like, no matter how you look at it, no matter what nobody say around you, you doing your best. And your child's going to appreciate that the older they get, as long as you don't give up. Right? And even if you're a single father and you out here grinding,
Right.
that's not very common nowadays, right? But if it is, keep doing your thing, boss. You know what I'm saying? We need that in the world. Good, you know, supportive, dependent fathers and mothers that if you got to do it by yourself, you just grind it out for your kids. Because I have no animosity towards my mom. You know what I'm saying? And she might have been... She's done some things that I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, we ended up, and me and my siblings ended up pretty well and healthy, you know, happy. We have pretty decent lives. We have a great relationship with her, so I'm very thankful, right? But I like to tell single moms, because I know a lot of my players that had single moms, they feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Like, nah, you don't even know how good you are doing. Like, for real. Like, your son is a good young man, even without a father in the picture.
Right.
And that's hard. And so we get to handle your young man that you're raising so well, and just teach them the man things that we can while we got them. So never give up. Keep fighting, because I know if it was me, you know, I watch my mom, I'm going to grind for my kids. And no matter which way it goes, it's not about you no more. It's about them. And live your life happily, but do it for them.
Absolutely, man. Hey, yo.
See, I just got to give the fullest, like, blessings to my mom, like, because she's everything, like, pretty much, because, like, my dad, like I said, he was here, but he wasn't here. Like, he was on a truck driver, and then after that, he went to the oil field, so my dude was never around.
Grinding,
so
man.
pretty much, my mom, she was raising, 2 kids, and then 3 kids after Mason came around 10 years later, all by herself.
That's crazy.
So I just got to give her all the blessings in the world.
Soldiers, man.
For sure, man. I'm thankful for all that. You know, Mom, you already know what it is. They said raising you in a house full of men. You know, me, Tay, Bari, Pops, and we all got tempers out this world. And you know, people give you a lot of slack and a lot of flack about, you know, how you are, but you had to get some grit about you to deal with us, because we're definitely not the easiest human beings. And I appreciate the overtimes, the 2-3 jobs, them sacrificing whatever, getting us food, and you didn't have food to feed your damn self. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not easy. This life's not easy. You know, just like it's not guaranteed, and we're all thankful. You know, just, you know, shout out Big Earn.
Yeah, Mom, Frenchie,
Montana, man.
Mama Osby.
Hey, shout out Mama O, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out, man. I'm not sure where we at, man, but I'm pretty sure we can end it on that. I just want to thank y'all for being here with us on episode 5. And, man, you know what it is. To my right, I got
Ayo.
behind the camera, got Alex, and to my left,
Big Tony.
Big Tony. You know what's going on. Thank you for joining us.